tragedy happens only when you are trying to live well, because for a heedless person who doesn't have deep commitments to others, conflict isn't a tragedy. Now the lesson certainly is not to try to maximize conflict or to romanticize struggle and suffering. But it's rather that you should care about things in a way that makes it a possibility that tragedy will happen to you. But you want people to live their lives with a deep seriousness of commitment. Not to adjust their desires to the way the world actually goes, but rather to try to wrest from the world the good life that they desire. And sometimes that does lead them into tragedy. Being a human means accepting promises from other people and trusting that other people will be good to you. When that is too much to bear, it is always possible to retreat into the thought, I'll live for my own comfort. For my own revenge, for my own anger, and I just won't be a member of society anymore. That really means, I won't be a human being anymore. There is danger in speaking so generally about liberalism, a danger that has often plagued feminist debates. Liberalism is not a single position but a family of positions. Kantian liberalism is profoundly different from classical utilitarian liberalism, and both of these from the utilitarianism currently dominant in neoclassical economics. For a choice is always a choice among possible alternatives, and it is a rare agent for whom everything is possible. The special agony of this situation is that none of the possibilities is even harmless. 18th-century philosopher Adam Smith, an early opponent of both colonial conquest and the slave trade, observed that it is difficult for people to sustain concern for people at a distance, when fear can so easily call the mind back to the self. His example is an earthquake in China. Hearing of the disaster, a humane person in Europe will be extremely upset and concerned, for a while. But if that same person hears that he, Smith typically imagines males, will lose his little finger the following day, he will completely forget the fate of millions of people. The fact that a good and virtuous decision is context-sensitive does not imply that it is right only relative to, or inside, a limited context, any more than the fact that a good navigational judgment is sensitive to particular weather conditions shows that it is correct only in a local or relational sense. It is right absolutely, objectively, anywhere in the human world, to attend to the particular features of one's context, and the person who so attends and who chooses accordingly is making, according to Aristotle, the humanly correct decision, period. We might say that there can be pity in its full-fledged form only where there is also mercy for self, for the self engulfed by a sense of its own utter blackness can never win through to a sufficient recognition of the sorrows of the other as other. What are people actually able to do and to be? What real opportunities are available to them? The presence of the other, which can be very threatening, becomes, in play, a delightful source of curiosity, and this curiosity contributes toward the development of healthy attitudes in friendship, love, and, later, political life. Winnicott. Epicurus wrote, "Empty is that philosopher's argument by which no human suffering is therapeutically treated." For just as there is no use in a medical art that does not cast out the sicknesses of bodies, so too there is no use in philosophy, unless it casts out the suffering of the soul. Conception and form are bound together. Finding and shaping the words is a matter of finding the appropriate fit between conception and expression.